Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the DUSwimDive Podcast. Today's special guest, good luck pronouncing his name, so we'll just call him the Dominator. He is a 200 fly and 100 flyer, but he's also been known to do a couple 200 frees and 500 frees here and there. He is a sophomore here at Drury University and just finished competing at the NCAA Division II swim meet with the rest of the boys. So, Mr. Dominik Karacic, how are you doing?
That was good.
That was good. Nice. Good.
That was decent. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Being part Spanish kind of helps with that a little bit. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah. So how we doing, Dom? How's the day been?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the day, the sun. I live for the days like this, but I have to admit, I'm a bit of nervous because the podcasts have been doing so good, and I don't want to be the one who makes it bad. So
no. Yeah, no, you'll be good. You'll be good. And I'm really excited for this topic that we're going to be talking about because this is something that I think about all the time. And it's something that I really wanted to talk to you about, before we competed. But we decided that it would be a little bit better to do it after. So
yeah, I'm not superstitious, but it's just you never want to talk about something that you're doing good and before something huge happens.
Yeah.
At least like for me, it works like that. That's why I wanted to postpone it a bit.
Yeah.
And now I'm completely fine talking about it now when the season is done and everything's settled.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Yeah. So yeah, our topic today is going to be about mentality. And what I kind of want to start off actually bringing up is I want to start with practice mentality specifically. And the reason why was one of my big things this year when it came to trying to improve and, my performance in meets as well as just like improve certain things in practices was I developed like two very different, mentalities for practice and for racing. And for practice specifically, I don't really think about the whole like stroke or the whole event as much. Like I really stress breaking up specific parts as much as I can. But I don't translate that to a meet. I just kind of let my body know that it's all there. All the pieces are there and it's just put together and I don't really think about it. So I'm curious, what do you do anything specific when it comes to practice mentality?
Yeah, definitely. What you're saying, they are separating the parts of the stroke. We're calling that focus points.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is when I see the practice, I just look the way how I'm going to approach the practice, and then I see, okay, maybe I'm going to adapt this part. Maybe this is more for me. Maybe this is not, and stuff like that. And for every specific part of the practice, I know exactly how I'm going to approach it and what I'm going to be working on. So let's say we're doing a pace practice and we're doing a 200 pace. So for every race of mine, I know like what I'm thinking about during the race. So that's what I'm going to try to emphasize in practice. So let's say it's a 200 pace practice. I know I want to hit 8 or 9 kicks on the water because in the race I'm going to do 7 or 8, and then my first stroke has to be perfect because if your first stroke gets you going, then everything is much easier, and then the hips have to be on like certain level of greatness, let's call it like that.
Yeah,
because if your hips go down, like it's a goodbye. Like you can walk out of the pool. You're done.
Yeah, the hips and the head really control body position.
But for me, it's just like a 50s broken into multiple pieces. So I'm focused on my kick count, then my kick goes both ways. Then the moment I finish that, I'm focusing on the beginning of the stroke. The moment I have my first stroke, I'm focusing on the hips. I'm counting strokes. I'm approaching the wall. I have what I want to do in the wall. So every part of the practice, I want to be in moment because I don't like thinking much during practice and analyzing things. Like I analyze after the practice.
Yeah.
But in practice, like I'm focused on things, what I'm doing. And that's what made like me improve this year a lot, just being in the moment, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and overall you had a pretty incredible nationals meet, I believe. So
yeah, I'm extremely satisfied, but that's what we trained for, what I'm not completely satisfied is my 200 fly because I know I trained for better and I saw myself winning that race and I think I should have.
Yeah.
It's just like when the race doesn't settle, kind of doesn't fall in the right place. And even when I watch the race 20, 30 times now at least,
Hmm.
and you can see how my body is just completely tired after 100. And
Yeah.
my hips went down, and not because I wasn't thinking about my hips, it's just like I didn't have the energy. My legs were not as useful as they usually are.
Hmm.
And like how I finished the race was pure will, and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
holding the rhythm and just not giving anything back.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
was just, what I like to say about myself is like I'm like a pit bull. Like
Hmm.
once I lock in my chin, like I'm there. Like
Yeah.
I'm not letting go.
No. Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Gotcha. Well, and it's interesting that you say that now after having watched it a bunch of times, you know, sorry. I set
It's
an
fine.
alarm to make sure that that I didn't miss our appointment here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back to what I was saying though. Now that you said after watching it like 20 or 30 times, you're saying at this point, I saw my hips go down, I got tired and stuff like that. You're reanalyzing, the specific parts of your race, but going into your race, this is where I talk about, separating, practice and race mentality. Going into your race, what were you thinking? Do you have like a certain mental process that you go through, or do you just not think at all?
I mean, I do a lot of things considering mentality, like a lot of things.
Hmm.
So what I do is visualization. I do visualization all year round, so I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing at what moment of the race. So I'm not worried about race tactics or anything. What I'm worried about, I mean, I'm trying not to be worried, but I have certain rules, and one of the rules is just like I have a tactic and I'm holding to my tactic. Second rule is don't be fast, just give everything you have. It doesn't matter if you're fast. What
Hmm.
matters is that you give everything you have.
Yeah.
One of the rules is just be stupid. Like just think about your focus. No, but it's funny, but the less you think, the better it's going to be,
Yeah.
because doing visualizations that you're ready for it. But
Hmm.
if you're like thinking about, oh, this guy's in front of me, oh, you start panicking, you start like feeling worse than you actually are, and stuff like that. So when I'm racing, I'm just thinking about the focus points I was talking about. So my hips, my hands going in properly, my kick count, my turns, stuff like that. And then tactics, just like I'm not even thinking about it because I've done it so many times in my head that
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm just trying to be as relaxed as possible, keeping my intensity level low for the 200, because if you're too high for the 200 fly, that's not going to end up well.
Yeah. That's
So
that's one you gotta keep your energy
you
throughout the
got to cool
entire
down,
race.
because
Yeah.
200 fly is such a, I mean, what's my signature move? I would say is coming back the last 25,
Yeah.
destroying everyone. But
Yeah.
this meet didn't work out for the 200. It worked out for the 100. But I don't know. I'm just super excited for the next year, seeing what the boys can do and
Hmm.
the girls,
Yeah.
but mostly the boys because I'm one of the boys.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Fair
I'm
enough.
super excited, and I was like, after I know I'm going a bit more into the depth, but I have to. Like after the meet ended and after everything finished, I just felt super defeated, and
Hmm.
I don't want to feel like that next year.
Yeah.
Even though I had a great meet, but at the same time, I calculated the points after the meet ended.
Hmm.
I wasn't doing any calculation when meet was on, but after the meet ended, like even if I did some crazy swims, it
Yeah.
still wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
just says like that we gave everything we had, and this year just didn't go our way.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, like we still have a lot to walk away and be proud about. But
Yeah,
yeah, we're really hoping for the gold
yeah,
this year. But yeah, going back to the mentality stuff as well, like your mental process sounds very similar to mine. Um, and I'm lucky that, you talk about getting yourself like overstressed and stuff like that if you do too much like visualization. And yeah, like I'm very much the same way with that, because I do a lot of visualization, but I'll pick like two or three things that will make like a good race. Like I really think about the different races that I'm doing, and what makes a good two fly is different than what makes a good two back.
yeah,
Um And I'll pick like a couple, significant things like, we talk about conserving your energy through the two fly. One of the ways that I lose a lot of energy is if I'm trying to throw my arms over the water like too fast. If I'm trying to get there to grab the water, I get my back tensed up and I lose so much energy. Whereas if I just kind of like throw my arms forward and just kind of let the momentum carry them forward, and then once I hit the water, I use all the tension and pull as much water as I can. It gives my muscles time to breathe. And so, I'm thinking about all this stuff. But once I get all of that thought of, I have like a mantra that I say to myself, and it's just separate the body from the mind. And that's just me saying that I know the stuff's in the back of my head. My body knows how to make it work. If I think about it, I'm just going to like, it's one of those instances where trying to make it happen is the one thing that's not going to make it happen.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just terrible.
you're just going to get in the way of yourself. And so, yeah, that's kind of like my mental process there is just separate the body from the mind and then just let it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling myself just be stupid, and I'm just singing to myself, not
Yeah.
even like the more people that comes to me, talk to me before the start, the better I am.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though like I don't need that, but it's just like keeping my mind off everything. Or
Yeah.
like I was watching diving before the morning heats, and
Yeah.
like I didn't care at all, because
Yeah.
that's one of the things you have to do, like not care about the result. Because if you do every single thing you want to do, like the result will come. It doesn't matter. Like maybe that time you're not going to go what you wanted to, but if you like put the effort and did everything right, like the result is going to come for sure.
Yeah. Well, and like that was speaking of diving as well. That was something that I had talked to Cole, our diver, a lot about. So for those who are listening, Cole Earl, also
The
known as
diver.
Cole the diver. Yes, he's the diver on the men's team. He's one of the divers on the men's team, and he went to nationals this year, and he did quite well. He walked away very, very satisfied with how he did, and he should be. But before that, he had come to me and we were talking about like mentality stuff because he wanted to kind of, get better with that. And, I just told him, just focus on Cole Earl world, just focus on yourself. You just keep having fun flipping and you just let it happen and it will. And, I talked with him a lot about that during the meet, and, we talked after about it, and he let what he could do, he let it happen. And it was very impressive to see because
No, definitely. Because especially like I was talking with him a week before nationals or something like that, and he was extremely nervous.
mm-hmm.
And I was just like, look, Cole, this is just another meet. Like, yeah, there's a lot of pressure, but if you look at it, like, there's a weight of the world on your shoulders. Like, this is not going to help you
Yeah.
or us.
Yeah.
Like, this is a terrible way to think, because, I mean, it happened to me so many times that I was completely ready, but I completely did not swim good.
Yeah.
Like, I just, the bed, it was just terrible.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to feel like that anymore. And that's how it all started.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy just how much mentality can really do for you. But yeah, like, having a good mental process is it's great for just like being able to relax going into your races and going into practices as well, knowing that you're actually going to get something out of your practice. Because sometimes we all have a practice where we'll swim and we'll walk out and we'll be like, man, I don't know if I gained anything from that. And so it's good to be able to be like, no, I have this mentality, I'm thinking about the right things, and so I'm actually like getting what needs to be, got out of that. So
Yeah, I mean, we
yeah.
all have bad practices, but if you're able to get at least something from it, then it's great. Because
Mhm.
like when I'm dying in practice and the times are not what I want them to be, and Reynolds is not happy or Zach is not happy, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still trying to keep my stroke,
Yeah.
because I know that once I'm relaxed and once I'm tapered and everything, that it's gonna fall into its place. So I'm not really worried. I mean, of course, it's frustrating because you want to go those specific times all the time, but that's just not how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like I had one practice this year where I just lost it, I'm lucky it was only once.
Yeah.
But at that practice, I was not speaking English. Like, and
I think I remember that. I remember that.
That just happens, and like, I don't know. That was not a good practice for me, and I don't want to go back. But at the same time, I want to keep moving forward, and that's what I did after I came the next morning, and I was ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's that kind of process. It's just it helps you keep getting back up. And I think one of the worst things that you can do coming out of a race, especially a bad race, is if someone were to come up to you and say, what happened, like what wasn't as good in that race, if you were to say, I don't know, like, I don't know, that's just
then you didn't learn, like, then
you're just not going to go
sucks.
anywhere. Yeah,
because like what I do after my race, it doesn't matter if I'm tapered or not tapered. Like, I don't celebrate or I don't cry about it. Like, I analyze the race.
Yeah.
Because like, you don't want to think about one race for months. Like, that's not going to get you anywhere. But like, you want to figure out what happened, what went wrong, what can you fix. You have to put down your goals on the list of paper, see what can you do better, and then start working on it.
Yeah. Well, and that gives the coaches more fuel for your practices as well. And, it helps not only just, building a close relationship with the coaches, but it helps them even potentially be able to see some things that like you weren't, or that they aren't able to necessarily see. That doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does happen.
Yeah.
And, it's just having another brain going on with your training, Reynolds always says, what does he say? Take ownership of your training.
Yeah.
Is that what he says? Yeah. So, and that's like one big way to do that is to just have a very analytical mentality, once you're done, obviously, with your swimming, and when you're, getting ready for practice and coming out of practice.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're swimming, like you're racing. Reynolds is not going to jump in the water and do 2 fly instead of you. Like,
that would be funny though.
I don't know if he would survive, but that would be funny for sure. But at the same time, like, he can help you as much as he can, but you're the one racing. You're like the one who has to figure out like what he has to do, and the coaches are there just to help you, just to keep pushing you and be there for you and give you times. But it's you. Like, you're the one who has to make a call.
Yeah, I think at the end of it all, you're probably the most effective tool. Like, you are the most beneficial aspect of your own training. And if you choose not to use it, then you're choosing not to use it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, well, this was a very great talk. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Dom.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the DUSwimDive Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe.